All right, let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Watch Over an Impudent Eye. And this is taken from the Apocrypha. And this is going to be based off of, this morning I woke up. Actually, when we were on our way back from camp, I believe it was, we were talking about Esther, the book of Esther, talking about Haman and the different, scenarios. And this morning when I got up, I started reading, and I read the first book of Esther. And as I was reading it, there was something that stuck out to me, and the Spirit just had me just put some precepts together to go into it, and pretty much is dealing with the behavior of our women today, the Israelite women, so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian women, beginning with the so-called black women, and their behavior today and what made them get to that point. So what I want to do before I start reading, I want to get the definition of impudent. And the word impudent is marked by casual disrespect, improperly forward or bold, which pretty much in a nutshell is a woman that's really not wise, because she's just acting on impulse, she's acting boldly, and that's how these women act. Women are supposed to be shamefaced, Women ain't supposed to be, looking at a man like she could whoop his ass. A woman ain't supposed to be, so forward and, just undisciplined the way our women are today, So what I want to do is we're going to go through the book of Esther, the first chapter, see how far we can get. It's a little chilly out here, a little chillier than normal, plus we're by the water, but we'll get through as many precepts as we can to make this point, because this is the problem. The problem is that there's no direction for Jake, and when you try to give Jake direction, you try to give him instructions, you try to give him a guideline to help them in their situation, how to better conduct themselves, they have a problem with it, because they've been brought up in a society that lets them do whatever they want to do, and that's not the way it should be. You have to have rules and regulations, instructions, boundaries, in order to better and properly be able to conduct yourself. And that's why you have our women act the way that they do. Why do you think you see these little girls twerking and dressing like harlots and all that? That's something that was taught to them by their mother, who was taught to them by their mother, who was taught to them by their mother, on down the line. And it's something that is smiled upon in this society, because truth be told, if a woman acted like a hoe, a harlot, and did these different things, if there were restrictions, or if there were punishments meted out for this behavior, they wouldn't be acting like that. And that's the whole concept of the book of Esther, or the first chapter anyway. The situation that happened with Ahasuerus and the queen Vashti. Now let's get to it. Esther 1:1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, this Ahasuerus which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces, that in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Media and Persia. The power of Persia and Media. So pretty much, he was throwing a big banquet for his cabinet, for the government of the medieval Persian Empire, and the princes and nobles were invited to this feast, right? It says, the nobles and princes of the province being before him, when he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty, many days, even 180 days, and when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan, the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace. So he made another feast, a 7-day feast, right? Now you got to imagine that. You know, you see these different period pieces, and you see the king, and you see the, you know, the council and the noblemen. You know, they're sitting there banqueting, you know, eating and drinking wine, you know, and talking amongst each other, right? It says, where were white, green, and blue hangings, fastened with cords of fine linen and pure and purple, to silver rings and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver, upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black and marble, because it was royalty. And Salaki, if you know, if the wind is too much, I'm trying to keep this kind of away from the wind, but then I think the wind is kind of shifting in a different direction. So just bear with me. So you know, you get the idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump down to the 10th verse, because the king made a feast and the queen made a feast, you know, for the women, right? Now, while King Ahasuerus is feasting, and just let me know if you know if there's so much wind. I'll see if I can try to shift it a little different. So you got to imagine, while the king is feasting, as it's going to say, on the 7th day, you know, he was merry, right? It says, on the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Bistha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Sethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains or eunuchs that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. So he wanted to show her off, you know, in front of these lords, which pretty much he was going up, but he was a heathen. But anyway, he wanted to show her off, so he pretty much he summoned her, right? And this is what took place. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment. So basically, she was being subordinate. She didn't want to go and submit to the king. It says, therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. Yeah, because she disrespected the king, and his, you know, his word is bond. Any other individual would have done that, they would have been put to death, pretty much. It says, then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew the law and judgment. And the next unto him was Karshina, Shethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Mersina, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom. Yeah, because he had counselors, wise men. It says, what shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to law, because she hath not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains, right? And Memucan answered before the king and the princess, Vashti the queen had not done wrong to the king only, but also to all princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. Why? Because she pretty much disrespected everybody. Because remember, this is royalty. The king called the queen. She didn't listen to him. She didn't come to his commandment. So what do you think that's going to do? That's going to spread a rumor to all the different provinces. Remember, he had 127 provinces. That's like having almost 2.5 United States. You know, the different states that he had. So you're going to have this news spreading throughout all of these different provinces. And what's going to happen? These women that hear this and see that the king didn't do nothing, they're going to be emboldened to do the same thing. So now you're starting to see how this is going to tie in together to how our women act here today, and the reason why they're in that condition. And the reason why there's so much disrespect, because there are no examples. Because the homo that's ruling is not abiding by the rules and regulations of the Bible. He's abiding by his own rules. And his own rules are pretty much do as thou wilt. So moving on, it says, for this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes, when it shall be reported, the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen, thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. And when the king's decree which he shall make shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. And the same pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan, for he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writings thereof, and to every people after their language, and every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people. And then as you read on, what happened? The king removed Vashti from being queen, and then he set up a new queen, which set up in the spirit, you know, for Esther to be in that high position, because she was there really to help Israel. But the point is that this woman disrespected the king, and she had to be made an example of. Otherwise, other women would have been emboldened to disrespect their husbands, great or small, and not follow their directions. And this is why you see the so-called black women, Latino women, and Native American Indian women all out of order as they are today, because they're not given any form of direction. They're not given instructions on how to govern themselves, how to be a woman, how to please their man, how to please their husband, how to please, you know, and run and guide the house, how to cook. A lot of these women don't know how to cook. You know, how to guide the babies, how to stay at home, not to be a tattler and a busybody, not to be a hoe. You know why? Because there is no one executing the judgments of the scriptures. Therefore, these women are emboldened to do what they do. You know? And through these different songs and the media and these videos and these movies, they have given a woman a right that she doesn't know what to do with. Look, whether you like it or not, a woman was created to be governed over. This is why when a woman is born till she comes to the marriageable age, she's under the rule and power of her father. From that point on, she's under the rule and power of her husband. Because if a woman is not guided properly, what's going to happen? She's going to get into all kind of bullshit. She's going to be a slut, a hoe, a lesbian. Because there's no one there to guide her. And there's no examples of anyone doing anything about it. That's why these women are the way they are. And it's just like a never-ending cycle of harlotry, of lesbianism, you know, of wickedness, because they're not taught properly how to conduct themselves from a very young age. So now let's go from there to Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. We're going to read a lot of precepts out of the Apocrypha, so just bear with me. Let's go to the Apocrypha. Let's start off in Ecclesiasticus 25 and 25. Let's see what that says. Like I said, I mean, I wrote these precepts down. I went through them earlier, but I don't remember every one what it says. But this is it right here. Ecclesiasticus 25:25. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gather abroad. Yeah, because a woman is supposed to have a hedge around her, whether it be her father or her husband. Because what happens if you don't have a hedge around a woman? She's going to corrupt herself. She's going to do things, especially in this society, because they don't have the proper guidance. And that's why our women are the way that they are today, in such a fucked up predicament. The biggest embarrassment on the planet over all these other nations. Because our women acting the way they act is a sure reflection of how we as a nation felt. And it shows how they don't respect us. That's why these goddamn Arabs, these goddamn East Indians, these other nations, when they come to America, they freak off on the black woman, the Puerto Rican woman, Dominican woman, you know? But then you as a black man, so-called black man, Latino man, the Israelite man, you try to get with their woman, you see what's going to happen to you. It's a blatant disrespect. And when you disrespect, you know, when you act the way you act, you Israelite woman, you act the way you act, guess what? That's a total disrespect to the men of your nation. So let's go from there. So it says not to give a wicked woman liberty to gather abroad. And that's what these women have. Over much liberty. All right. So Ecclesiastes 36 now and 25. It says, and this ain't going to be good. So y'all might want to, some of you might want to move on. You simps, you beta males, you metrosexuals, you know, you could keep it moving, man. Because your days are numbered too, man. You got them metrosexuals, you simps, you know, you Captain Saver hoes, you know, you pussy begging, you know, assholes. The Lord is getting sick of you motherfuckers, man. And the Lord's about to do something to you. He about to bring the pain on your ass, man. Because this is fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous the condition that we find ourselves in today. I mean, we understand that it's the curses, you know, but it's a total blatant disrespect that the other nations do not tolerate. So Ecclesiastes 36 and 25. Where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled, see? So that's why if a woman doesn't have a hedge, either from her father or her husband, guess what? She's gonna, with over much liberty, she's gonna corrupt herself. It says, and he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning. Now, let's go from there to same book, Ecclesiastes 42 and 6. It says, sure keeping is good, see? Because you have to watch, that's what we're gonna get it. But the scriptures say, watch over an impudent eye. So if you have a woman that is impudent, you know, that is not disciplined, you know, that is unwise, and then you don't watch over her, what's going to happen? She's going to abuse herself. She's going to do stupid shit. She's going to do that airhead shit. All right? It says, sure keeping is good where an evil wife is, and shut up where many hands are. Yeah, because if you have an evil wife, you have to keep a constant watch on that hoe. But why is she like that? Because of the society that she was brought into. Like I said, we understand it's the curses, but you have to also look at the systematic way in which everything got to where it's at. Mothers, daughters, mothers, to grandmothers, to great-grandmothers, so on down the line, and what they've taught their daughters. That's a vicious cycle. See? A woman ain't supposed to be hopping from one dick to the other. Like they call it, playing cock carousel. A woman's supposed to be with one man. That's it. Other than that, she's damaged goods. Now, you know, we're in a fucked up society, so we understand, you know, you have women out there that been in fucked up situations, you know, but the average woman out there, Israelite woman, is nothing but a fucking hoe. Bottom line. Ecclesiastes, back to Ecclesiastes 26. And that is a true, that's a true reality, man. Ecclesiastes 26:10. It says, if thy daughter be shameless, see, and a lot of you women are shameless, man. You have no shame. And we're going to read that a shameless woman is counted as a dog, meaning a bitch. And then when you call a hoe a bitch, she gets mad. Fuck you getting mad about? You don't respect yourself. You don't have any self-respect. You don't have no shame. So you deserve to be called what you are called. You deserve to be treated the way that you be treated. Because if you disrespect yourself, who's going to respect you? It says, if thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly. See, straitly meaning a position of difficulty. You know? Because a woman's supposed to be given chores. She's supposed to be taught how to cook, how to clean, how to wash clothes, you know, how to iron. Womanly duties. That in this society, say, oh, you're a male chauvinist. Motherfucker, that's what the Lord set a woman up for. And that's why the Lord's going to set everything back in the proper order, man. It says, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. See? So if you don't keep her in straitly, she's going to abuse herself through overmuch liberty. In other words, she's going to go out there, she's going to be laying with Tom, Dick, Harry, Harriet, you know, Harrietta, you know, and everything else out there. It says, watch over an impudent eye. So if you have an impudent eye, you got to watch over them. It says, and marvel not if she trespass against thee. If she trespass against her father, or if she trespass against her man. And that's why you got women out here that, you know, they'll be with their husband, they'll be, you know, hey honey, what this and that. And then once the husband is at work or wherever, she over there freaking off somewhere. It says, she will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he hath found the fountain. Yeah, she gonna, you know, do what she got to do. It says, by every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. She's gonna be laying down with Tom, Dick, and Harry. And in this time, Harriet. So now let's go from there to back to Ecclesiastes 42. Right? Because we read here, she trespassed against you. And what is a trespass against you? Meaning she's going to misbehave. She ain't going to do the right thing because she's not taught the right thing to do. So let's go to Ecclesiastes 42:9. The father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth, and the care for her taketh away sleep. Why? Because when a woman gets to a certain age, she starts getting them hormones jumping, and she wants what? She wants sex. You know? Now, if she's not watched over, she's going to go get popped by whoever. And guess what? Now, being in her father's house, she's damaged goods because nobody's going to want a woman that's been popped by another man. See? The ancient world was totally different than this world. This world, you got many simps, you know, that don't mind. It says, and the care for her taketh away sleep when she is young. See? Least she pass away the flower of her age. Meaning what? She start having her period. And being married, least she should be hated. Why? Because what's going to happen is this man is going to find out, now this woman wasn't a virgin. And guess what? The parents are not going to have a token of her virginity because somebody already took her virginity. And that will cause that woman to get put to death. And that's what the token of a woman's virginity was for, was the protection for the father and mother of their daughter. In case the man tried to say she wasn't a virgin, you know, and if they didn't have the token of virginity, she could have got put to death. It says, in her virginity, least she should be defiled, see, and gotten with child in her father's house. And that's happened many times in this society. Why? Because she's not watched over. It says, in having a husband, least she should misbehave herself, and when she is married, least she should be barren. Yeah, because that's wickedness, man. To be a hoe. To have, especially to bring in children of adultery. You have cases out there where you have women that are married, having sex with other men, getting pregnant by other men, and acting as if it was their husband's child that they were carrying in their womb. That's total wickedness, man. That's total wickedness. It's fucked up towards the man. It's fucked up towards the child. Because here it is, a child is thinking that this particular person is their father, but their father is somebody else you was laying it down with. Fucking hoe. All right, now. So we dealt with the part, right, at least she misbehaved herself. Why is she going to misbehave herself? Because she wasn't trained properly. Now, let's go from there to Ecclesiastes 26 and 14. It says, a silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, and there is nothing so much worth, listen good, as a mind well instructed. See? So a woman was supposed to be well instructed, because there was nothing more than a man desired than a woman, a young woman that was trained properly, that was brought up properly, whose mind was trained right, that know how to cook, that know how to clean, that know how to please their husband, that know how to raise up children. That was like gold, man. That was better than gold. But what happened today? There's no one there to train up these women the way they should go, the way they should be, the way that they should behave. They think that, you know, being a slut and sleeping around or being a lesbian is the in thing, which is a hip thing. It's cool. That shit ain't cool. That devalues you. It's just like when you buy a car. When you buy a car, guess when it starts devaluing? As soon as you drive off the lot, it starts to devalue. And the more miles you got on the car, the more devalued the car is. And that's the same thing with a woman. The more men a woman is laid down with, the more devalued she is. That's why you have what? The neighborhood hoe. Everybody done slept with her. She got such a bad reputation, she got to move to another state, another city, you know, or another wherever, you know, to be able to start all over again. Because she has such a bad reputation, she couldn't, you know, she was a laughing stock of the town. Then, well, if she's a young woman, she'll make her father a laughing stock. But then, if you have a hoe, and she gets with an individual dude that don't know about her wholeness, and then you see all the other dudes in that city that pop this bitch and looking and laughing at this dude. This guy is a sucker, man. He don't know, there was men that put a threesome on this bitch, 10 men popping her at one time. She done blew everybody's rod in the club. And here it is, you trying to marry the bitch. You buying her a fucking ring and marrying her, and everybody's laughing at you. You the fucking laughing stock. And so is her father. That's why a bitch got to move from city to city and state to state to get away from that fucked up stigma that she wears. Why? Because her mind was not well instructed. And where does the instruction come from? Let's go to Titus. Let's go to the book of Titus. See, and that chapter in Esther, the first chapter, it set off that whole, through the Spirit, that whole idea, you know, that whole thought, you know, that whole mindset of, you know, the lack of our women being taught today how to be women. They think that that's, you know, that you're ignorant if a woman should be taught how to be a woman, how to cook, how to clean, how to guide the house. Why? Because this society is taught, oh, you know, the woman should be strong, she should be independent. No, man. Scriptures speak about a woman being the weaker vessel. A job of a woman. Why was Eve created? She was created to be Adam's helpmeet, for comfort, you know. But here it is, you come home from a hard day's work, and you come home from being harassed in the streets or whatever the case is, and you come home in the last place, you know, your safety, your safe haven, you come home to a goddamn rattlesnake, you know. So where's the comfort? Where's the time to be able to ease your mind? That's what a woman's supposed to be there. Give you a back rub. Oh, honey, how you been? You know, how was your day? You know, you don't get none of that shit no more. But that's why the scriptures say that there's nothing more worth than a mind well instructed. The minds of these women have not been instructed properly how to conduct themselves. And if this doesn't fit you, then don't worry about it. If the shoe fits, then take it off and get another pair. But if it doesn't fit, then don't worry about it. Because you do have exceptions to the rules. You know? Now this is the book of Titus 2:1. It says, but speak thou the things which become sound doctrine. This is sound doctrine. Everybody says they believe in the Most High, except for when you start going into the scriptures and showing them what proper doctrine is, what proper instruction is, what proper reproof is. Then it's, oh, who wrote that book? Man wrote that book. All right. So obviously you don't believe in the Most High. Verse 3, the aged woman. So an aged woman is what? An older woman. You know, normally your grandmother, you know, mother, grandmother, you know, women that have had experience, right? But what do you have now? These aged women are nothing but a bunch of hoes themselves. Still popping all different type of men that old as hell, and they're still laying around with all kind of men. So this is what you got to look up to. It's a never-ending vicious cycle, which is about to be set back into power, back into order. You know, because this shit is gonna stop. It says that the aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness. But they're not going to be in behavior as becometh holiness. Why? Because they were taught by their mother and their mother's mother and their mother's mother to be a hoe, to play the field, sleep with as many men as you want. Don't just settle for one. But the scripture says something totally different. And then these are the same hoes come Sunday, they have the biggest Bible, and they'll sit right in the front of the church, knowing they done popped like 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 of the men in there, and probably a couple of women, but they sitting up in the front with that big ass Bible like they so holy. Yet they believe in the Most High. This hypocrisy is going to stop, man. That the aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, which a lot of you are, not given to much wine, teachers of good things. So what is a teacher of what is a good thing? Something that's written in the scriptures. How to be a shamefaced woman, how to be a benevolent woman, how to do the things that become holiness according to what is written. How to become like the daughters of Sarah. See? It says these aged women that are conducting themselves in holiness, that they may teach the young women to be sober. And the word there for sober, let's see, is, or wise. See? Sober meaning wise in this case. In other words, how a mind well instructed. You want to know what a mind well instructed is? Read the book of Proverbs 31 when it speaks about the woman and how the woman is, how a virtuous woman is conducts herself. Because the scripture says that a virtuous woman is worth more than rubies, I believe it says, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't read that scripture in a long time. You know, it says that they may teach the young women to be sober or wise, to love their husbands, to love their children. Yeah, not to be a hoe and running around sleeping with this one and that one and the other. You know, here it is, a man's hard at work. He comes home, you ain't even home. The house is dark and my pots are cold. You know? Inside joke, you know, a song for brothers that know that song. And it's true. Here it is, you don't do nothing all day. Your husband goes, busts his ass at the job. I mean, if you know, today you got a lot of women that work, but you have women that don't work. They're married. Their husband come home, they might be laying in the bed all goddamn day. Her husband come home, and there's no food prepared for him. What do you think that? How do you think that man feels? It says to be discreet. Let's look up this word discreet. Let's look up this word discreet. Like I said, this lesson is not for you simps. So please exit stage left. Please be gone with yourself. Yeah, this thing I guess I didn't turn on. Let me look at the other one while that's powering up. So let's see. That is the book of Titus. Titus chapter 2. And what was that, 5? Yeah, discreet. The word discreet is sophron. Safe sound in mind that is self-controlled, moderate as to opinion or passion, discreet, sober, temperate. Now, the word temperate means to be disciplined. Now, let's look up this word discreet in the offline dictionary and see what it says. All right, discreet. Discreet. Marked by prudence, which prudence is wisdom, or modesty and wise self-restraint. Unobtrusively perceptive and sympathetic, heedful to potential consequences. And basically, you know, it's also marked by someone that knows how to keep things, you know, between them and their husband. Because you have these women that every argument them and their husband have, or every problem they have, they run and tell their woman, the other friends. And guess what? Those friends go and tell everybody else. And then she's mad. Yeah, she want to tell them all our business. Yeah, bitch, because you told her the business. Now, if you'd have kept your big fat mouth shut, shit wouldn't be out there like that. That's another form of lack of teaching. That's another form of lack of a mind well instructed. So it says to be discreet, chaste. Chaste meaning not to be laying down with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Just dealing with your husband. It says keepers at home, which that, you know, that's out the door nowadays. Keepers at home. What? You a male chauvinist pig, man. That's frowned upon. And these women that are like that have that spirit, these other hoes out here look at them and they look, what's wrong with you, girl? Go out there and play the field, man. Like they're looking at them like they're so wicked. And they're righteous for doing that. But that's that fucked up, systematic, ongoing, you know, never-ending cycle, vicious cycle. And you could thank this fucking devil that pushes that attitude out there. And you see it in these movies, these women being exalted. So it's a fuckery on all levels, man. It says good, obedient to their own husbands. These are things what it says that the older women supposed to teach the younger women. It says that the word of the Most High be not blasphemed, because anything else goes against what the Lord wrote. These women don't give a damn. You tell some of these hoes you're not supposed to be teaching as a woman, oh, they'll have a fucking fit. Oh, you had prophetess. Yeah, but the prophetess were not out there speaking and teaching. A prophetess is a woman that will have a vision, and she'll either tell her father or her husband, you know, the vision, because the Lord showed her things that were coming in the future. She wasn't out there and thus saith the Lord. And if you don't repent, you know, she wasn't out there like the prophets like that. There's an order to everything, man. Let all things be done decently and in order. Now let's go from there to 1 Peter chapter 3. 1 Peter chapter 3. And I'm going to read a couple of these verses. Let's see. Let's read verse 1 and then jump down to 5. 1 Peter 3 and 1. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection. And that's one thing the black, Hispanic, and the Native American Indian women do not like. They do not like to be in subjection. Subjection means to be under the rule of who? Their father or their husband. In this case, it's dealing with the husband, because these are women that are married. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, not to anybody else, that if any obey not the word, they may also without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. Verse 5. For after this manner, in the old time, the holy women, now we just read about the aged woman walking in holiness. The aged woman also who trusted in the Most High, adorn themselves, being in subjection unto their own husband, because that's an adorning to you. See, to these women, no, that's a symbol of weakness. No, that's an adorning. Do you know that is pleasing in the eyes of the Heavenly Father? That's an adorning. That's something that is put on your tab of good deeds. It says, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters you are, as long as you do well. And what is doing well? Receiving the instructions that are written in the instruction book, and are not afraid with any amazement. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's not a hard thing to do this. You know, to be in subjection to your husband. Now, of course, you're going to have arguments. The scripture says such shall have problems, troubles in the flesh, you know. But nevertheless, you know, you don't blatantly disrespect your man. You don't go, you know, I'm mad at him, so I'm going to go lay down with so-and-so, you know. That's what you women do. Very vindictive. Now, let's go from there to Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians chapter 5. And that's why a lot of Israelite women, they're going to die, man. Because they don't want to get right. They don't want to get with the program. They're comfortable here in Babylon the Great. Ephesians 5:22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husband as unto the Lord. You say you love the Lord? Well, submit yourself to your husband. Why? Because he is your head. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Yahushua is the head of the church. And he is the savior of the body. It says, therefore, as the church is subject unto Yahushua, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. See, this is not something. This is something that you women don't want to adhere to. Jumping down to verse 33. Nevertheless, let every one of you, in particular, so love his wife even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband. You know, and this is frowned upon in this society. You know, like you know, at one time there used to be songs that were done by women, which were written by men, of how a woman would do things for the man. You know, how she pretty much worship the ground the man walked on, which is nothing wrong with that, because the man being the head, the man is your God, your husband is your God, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know. But now, you know, you gotta, you know, you got these lousy, filthy wretches that talk about, it's all about, you know, if a man ain't doing stuff for you, if he ain't buying you stuff, if he ain't paying your bills, then get rid of him. That's the attitude. You know why? Because those are minds that are not well instructed. Those are demons. Because they were never taught the right way. And even if they may have known the right way, they rebelled. Now, let's go from there to, you know, we could skip those other two because they're pretty much saying the same thing. Let's go to Colossians 3. Let's see what that says. In the interest of time, let's go to Colossians chapter 3 and verse 18. Colossians 3 and 18. It says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, as it is fit in the Lord, which pretty much are saying the same thing. Now let's go back to the Apocrypha, Ecclesiastes 42 and 11. Just bear with me 1 second. Ecclesiastes 42 and 11. It says, keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter. Yeah, see? Why? Because a shameless daughter is a one that you're trying to teach her, but she ain't retaining it. She's a problem. That's why it says, watch over an impudent eye. It says, keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she make thee the laughing stock of thine enemies, to her father and to her husband eventually. And a byword in the city. Yeah, look at that slut. Look at that hoe. That's the Project Hoe, as they used to call them back in the days. And a reproach among the people. Because it was shameful to be that way, but nowadays they encourage that attitude. It says, and make thee ashamed before the multitude. Right now, let's go back to the Bible, to the other part of the Bible. Let's go to 1 Timothy And these are all instructions in the book. But these women are so far gone that they refuse to receive instructions anymore. That's why you're supposed to teach them when they're young. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he shall not depart from it. 1 Timothy 5:11. But the younger widows refuse. Now the younger widows are young women that lost their husband was dead, right? And the ones that were supposed to lodge the saints and all that would be women that were 60 and over. Because by the time a woman is 60, you know, unless she has a husband, she doesn't really have those desires as a young woman have. You see? She is more settled, especially if she lost her husband, because, you know, you had some women back there that were so devoted to their husband that once their husband died, they never dealt with another man again, even though they can, because their husband is dead. But they had so much reverence for their husband, like Judith, they never remarried. It says, but the younger widows refuse, for when they have begun to wax wanton against Yahushua, they will marry. Yeah, because if you still got that sensation between your legs, and you still want to, you know, have sex, and your husband is dead, you know, and you're a younger woman, and you get another husband, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you say, no, I'm devoting my life to the Lord, and then turn around, you know, and you get that itch and you want to get it scratched, you pretty much kick the Lord to the curb. It says, having damnation because they have cast off their first faith. And with all, they learn to be idle. And that's what these women are like. They learn to be idle. They don't do anything. They hang out all the time, talking shit on the corners. If they're home, they're talking shit, you know, playing games on the phone, not doing their wifely duties, wandering about from house to house. And that's what they do, talking shit about this one, about that one, you know? And not only idle, but tattlers also. Yeah, talking, I mean, just yapping away. And busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. And you have a lot of women out there like that. A lot of our women are like that, the majority of them. It says, I will therefore that the younger woman marry, bear children, guide the house. And that's what they're supposed to do. It says, give none occasion to the adversary, which is Satan, to speak reproachfully. And a lot of you women, it's going to say, for some are already turned aside after Satan. A lot of you have gone the way of Satan. Now let's go back to the Apocrypha. We've got a few more precepts, and we're going to close out. Back to Ecclesiastes 36, and now we're going to go to the 20th verse. Ecclesiastes 36 and 20. A froward heart causeth heaviness, but a man of experience will recompense it. Let me make sure I'm in the right. A woman will receive every man, yep, because they have no discipline. They're not chaste. They haven't been instructed the right way. Yet is one daughter better than another. The beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance, and a man loveth nothing better. Yeah. If there be kindness, meekness, and comfort in her tongue, then is not her husband like other men. Why? Because that's what you were created for. You were created to comfort your husband. It says, verse 24, he that getteth a wife beginneth a possession. And that's, a lot of women get mad when you tell them that they're your possession. Because a woman is owned. She's owned by her father and she's owned by her husband. That's why when she's born, she takes her father's last name. When she's married, she takes her husband's last name. And this society is so wicked that they allow women to keep their father's name, last name, when they get married. It's not supposed to be that way. It says, a help like unto himself and a pillar of rest. It says, where no hedges, there the possession is spoiled. See? Because if you don't have a hedge, if a woman is not taught the right way and she doesn't have somebody watching over, she's going to go spoil herself, man. And he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning, which we read that earlier. I don't know why I put it back on here. I guess there was a reason. Now let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 26th chapter, in the first verse. It says, blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be double. Yeah, because you need a man, when he goes through situations, needs somebody there to comfort him, man. It says, a virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. A good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Now let's jump down to the 10th verse. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through much liberty. So we already read that. I don't know why why did I put that there again? We already read that. You know what? Let me jump to the 12th verse. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he hath found a fountain, and drink of every water near her. By every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. Meaning she's just a completely filthy, nasty hoe. She's going to get popped by everybody. Now let's go from there to Proverbs 20. And then these women, they do their shit, and then they act like they're virtuous. They act like they're noble, like they're holy. Proverbs chapter 30, verse 20. And it reads, such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth, and saith, I have done no wickedness. Yeah, a woman will suck somebody's rod, you know, and I don't even want to get graphic, and then go home to her husband like nothing. She's shameless, acting like she's benevolent. And then come Sunday, she got the biggest Bible going to church. Fucking hoes, man. All right, now let's go to Ecclesiastes. I guess we could finish it out here. Let's see, Ecclesiastes 26 and 13. Let's see what that says. It says, the grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace, and a continent mind cannot be valued. A continent mind is one that's consistent, one that doesn't deviate, one that's not undisciplined. It says, as the sun, which when it ariseth in the high heaven, so is the beauty of a good wife in the ordering of her house. See? Why? Because she was instructed properly. As the clear light is upon the holy candlestick, so is the beauty of the face in ripe age. As the golden pillars are upon the sockets of silver, so are the fair feet with a constant heart. And the woman who has a constant heart, you know, constantly devoted to her husband. Now let's jump down to the 22nd verse. It says, an harlot shall be accounted as spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death to her husband. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. A dishonest woman contemneth shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband. Wow. A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, meaning a bitch. Shameless. But she that is shamefaced will fear the Lord. Yeah, because there was some women that wouldn't even dare look you in the eye. A woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all. But she that dishonoreth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all. And that's pride coming from these women. And that comes too from all these different sperms that's in them from all these different men, making them be demonic. A loud crying woman and a scold shall be sought out to drive away the enemies. There be two things that grieve my heart, and a third maketh me angry: a man of war that suffereth poverty, and men of understanding that are not set by. Okay. Oh, Salaki, that was the last verse that I was supposed to read. You know what? Let's go finish it out with let's go to Peter's. There's three more scriptures which are one verse each. Let's go to 1 Peter first. 1 Peter. Let me get this other one real quick while I'm here. 1 Peter. All right, 1 Peter 3 and 7. See, and this is what some of them other camps don't do. You know, they don't correct these women. That's why these women are all out of order. And this world doesn't correct the woman, especially the Israelite woman, so-called Negro, Latino, Native American Indian woman. 1 Peter 3 and 7. Likewise, ye husband, Dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel. Yeah. If she do right, you're supposed to do right for her. You know, as we're going to read in the next precept. And as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. Yeah, because the Lord said, what the Lord put together, let no man put asunder. So you're a unit. 1 Corinthians 7:3, let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence. Yeah, but she has to do the things that merit that. And likewise also the wife unto the husband. And the last precept I have is Colossians, back in Colossians 3:19. And it says, husbands, love your wives and be not bitter against them. Yeah, as long as, you know, she's doing the right thing. Now, if you have a woman that's doing the right thing by her husband and he's treating her like shit, that's on him. And the Lord sees that. The Lord's going to deal with that man, you know. But the majority of the Israelite women out here, they're not taught and guided in the right direction, you know. That's why it says, watch over an impudent eye. And there's nothing more worth than a mind that's well instructed, you know. And that's what the Lord is doing now. He's instructing the men and the women how to conduct themselves, you know, because that's what's coming in the future. We're just right now rehearsing the righteous acts. You know, this is a shadow of things to come. And pretty soon, when the kingdom is established, everything will be back in its proper order. You know, but you see Jake out here, the men and the women are all fucked up. And when you try to explain things to them, and it's not just the women that's fucked up, the men are fucked up too, but you have to get on both. You know? And the ones that are going to get it are the ones that are part of the elect. Until the kingdom is set up, you know, and everything is ruled back in righteousness. So with that, you know, I pray that you brothers that learn something. Until the next time I say, Shalom.